I learned theory sort of from the ground up by ears and numbers and Roman numerals. And everyone I worked with last night on all this rock stuff, we don't talk about chords, we talk about inversions and scale tones. So if you're familiar with the way they record in Nashville, they don't use chord symbols, they use numbers. So that's 1 to 4, you know, with a bass that walks up. So I guess my point of my lecture at Eastman was that all this advanced jazz theory is applied. How do we apply all this theory that we know? Because the one thing I know about music theory is that it is knowable. There's a lot of music that is not knowable, but music theory and structure is knowable. There's stuff that you can know, and it's a way to communicate musical ideas. So there is the thread that goes through this all the last 2 weeks, and it has to do with this tune that I've got on Bernie's record called Got Groove, which, by the way, all these materials are online if you have your devices. It's ellingtonstudygroup.com/Bernie. So you can download all the PDFs. You can look at them now or later. So I'm playing Across the Great Divide last night by the band. And the intro is a 1-7 with a third in the bass to 4, real simple, right? And there's a lot of different ways you can voice that. And the thing that I notice the more I study this kind of music and the more I study jazz theory is that it's all kind of the same. The Steely Dan voicing is also a gospel voicing that moves up. The Steely Dan voicing just doesn't go the same way. Gospel can move up. Gospel can also move up just sort of randomly. And I say I can't analyze that, but it's just got the same spirit of the moving up. When you start learning about theory, you learn about the diminished chord that goes there, but you also learn how to voice it on piano when you listen to a lot of rock and roll, when you have to learn all these tunes, because there's a lot of jazz players are going to sit there and they're going to play instead of they're going to play this is the way to do it. This is like a D minor triad over the B. This doesn't really make sense unless you can visualize it as moving a contrary motion down to a triad. That's all stuff that, you know, we kind of learn when we study music, but it's important when you're doing sessions or you're a session keyboard player and playing with these guys, because that's what they want to hear. They want to hear the voicing like that. They don't want to hear. They want to hear. And then they want to hear. And that's what doesn't make sense. Same spirit, different stuff. So now we're departing into what I was talking about in Darius's class, which was linear harmony. I was getting into some esoteric stuff with inner roots, where you have a chord like this, and you're pedaling the B flat and the A flat. You've got a really strong voicing here. With the G on the bottom, the G starts to sound like an inner root. This is the root, but this is my oral root. And then this starts to sound like a tonality, even though we're still in B flat. And this is the kind of stuff that piano players can do. Start making up all this advanced linear harmony just on the spot, just by looking at it. So I'm definitely not in B flat, but I still am in B flat. And do you see how that is kind of the same thing as this? That's kind of the same stuff. I'm just pushing stuff together that happens to lie well on the piano and looks good, but also I know that it's going to sound good. But I've also studied a lot of theory, so I kind of know why it works, and I kind of know what I'm going to do next. So when I hear Max Middleton go at the end of his intro to Going Down, he does this whole thing, then he wraps it up with that cadence, which is like a gospel cadence, and then brings the band in with that. I was thinking that's the same walk-up that's on The Great Divide. Without my window. That's also the same walk-up that's in my tune, Got Groove. Right, Bernie?
Yes.
Which I think we should listen to right now. But my point is that all this stuff is kind of related, and it's applied music theory. And this is what I was telling Darius's class. I said, y'all are performers, and you want to be jazz performers, but this stuff you're learning now is going to help you when you get on stage with Bob Weir, and when you get on stage, or when you get in the studio with someone who tells you to change the sound of what you're doing, change your voicing. Put something cool in there, why don't you, or maybe sparse it out, make it less busy. It's going to expand your mind and give you more choices. It's not just on the paper. It's applied music theory, and it does exist, and it is knowable.